All right, so this video is going to help you navigate practice problem two. In particular, I wanted to talk about how to show your work. And this is obviously really important for earning partial credit, as you know from exams, but also if you show me your work on this page, on this worksheet, that is the calculation for adjusting entries, then I can more precisely flag which pieces might be setting your adjusting entries in the wrong direction. So I'm just going to, kind of show you the different sections and talk about how to link this through. Basically, um, this is a short list of all the prepaid insurances that the company had at the beginning of the year. Then there was a new policy that they prepaid for that you recorded a transaction for in quarter one. So this is where you would do that work. And all of these are essentially the same, where you enter in an amount that you link from either a transaction, a cell in your journal entries, a cell. I'm sorry, not really from your journal entries. You would use a cell from the unadjusted trial balance here, but this one splits it up too many ways, and so you would have to consult the original document I gave you, and I have that as well. I'm going to put it up on the screen. This tells you all of the information you need to know, especially this part one. It walks through the various types of assets and liabilities that this company has, and we'll give you that information. So, for example, the prepaid insurance, that these are the balances of these items at the end of the year 2021. And so you can take that 268,750. That was the general liability. Yep, that was the general liability. And then plop it into your spreadsheet as your starting piece. Then you're type in the remaining life of the outstanding policy. So I'm not sure exactly how many years, but let's say it has 4 years remaining. And then you just do a calculation here to figure out the annual based on 4 years remaining, which again isn't the right answer, but it's an answer. That gives me the annual insurance expense. And just really remember that we're dealing with a company that we're reporting quarterly for. And so this would be then the annual amount divided by four. And then you get each of those, also add in this new one, and you can sum them all together to get this cell right here, which would be the amount of insurance expense for quarter one that you would want to make an adjusting entry for, right? So that part is pretty self-explanatory after you start working through it. It should make a lot of sense. Do the same thing with the PP&E. We purchased a building, so that's going to be an additional entry into the PP&E depreciation calculation. And then just update your accumulated depreciation, get your total accumulated depreciation, and this would be the amount we would see on the balance sheet for property, plant, and equipment net at the end of the first quarter. Okay, but only after you've updated accumulated depreciation for the depreciation from Q1. In terms of our amortization piece, we had a patent and a patent we purchased. Same procedure, figuring out the amortization. And just remember that when we adjust for intangibles, we credit the intangible asset account directly. So we would credit patents, not accumulated amortization. This piece just breaks up the unearned revenue in terms of when they're going to actually earn it, current and long term. That there's really nothing for you to do here. And then finally, the notes. Well, not finally, but the notes. We began the year with a note. For example, if you go back into the first document and look at its liabilities, it talks about the borrowings and says they had a $2.5 million note, and $3.275 million of bonds, and that the weighted average interest rate on both was 7%. So again, you're just calculating across, finding the quarterly amount, and then inserting that new note payable here. This piece is just for your taxes. So once you have all your entries, right, you're going to have to do the tax expense entry. And you want to make sure you have all the revenues per the adjusted trial balance, all the expenses all your adjusted expenses, and then you can use the tax rate to find tax expense. So make sure you fill this out if you want a lot of guidance in terms of me checking over your work, because otherwise I'm just going to be able to say, hey, this adjustment's wrong. And I'm not sure which item might be incorrect. I'm not sure where it's going wrong. Maybe you divided by the wrong amount. This helps me nail down those inconsistencies. The other thing I wanted to point out to you real quickly is the ledger accounts. So in particular, I went to your temporary accounts here, your income statement accounts, because of course we need to close these. And there will also be some adjustments made. So when you see the green shading, this is an adjusted trial balance that is different than the unadjusted trial balance. So there's going to be some record here that will enter in and then change my overall unadjusted trial balance to my adjusted trial balance. In this case, I just added $1, right? Note that if there is not a change in the account, I don't have between the unadjusted and adjusted trial balances. If there's no change between the unadjusted and the adjusted, then there is no green shaded box, because your unadjusted is just going to carry forward as your adjusted. These sort of beige sand colored boxes here that I'm highlighting are your post closing balances. And so, of course, all of these income ledgers are going to have post closing balances, because we need to get rid of them in order for that to be the appropriate closing procedure, right? We have no revenues, no expenses, no dividends in our work. Now, if you're looking for the income summary for your closing entries, it's over here in our equity ledger. So notice it does not have any balance for its unadjusted. There's no green box, so there's still no balance in the adjusted trial balance. And then there's 3 entries that are closing entries associated with income summary. So everything should be mapped out correctly. I kind of went through and checked all of my shaded boxes to be sure that the things that needed to be closed had the sand color with them. The things that, or I'm sorry, not need to be closed, but are affected by closing entries. I just corrected myself because we don't close retained earnings, but it is affected by closing entries. And all the green boxes for those things that need adjustments. So that should help guide you a little bit in this process. And if you have any questions, of course, let me know, and I'm always happy to help you.